rolling.
Hey everyone, Jim T. Graham with RCGroups.com, and today it's kind of the end of the summer. We thought we'd get out here with at least one more airplane. We may have some more, but right now we have the ReadyMadeRC Surfer 1500. Here's the theory. I've had tiny FPV planes, I've had humongous 4-part FPV planes that had to be assembled and disassembled, and the Easy Star was one of my first airplanes, and this is a relative to the Easy Star, as you can just visually see. What I've done is mounted one of my better cameras on the nose, and that is simply mounted with 2 screws through the nose, and I have a piece of wood underneath that they're screwed into. Then I have my 5.8 video transmitter for now. Might switch that to 1.3, don't know. And that is simply mounted to the back of this, and I also put a piece of wood here and put a strap on it to hold it on. And I have the battery tray, which I have photos of the install right here so that you can get the battery up and closer to the wing for the CG. And currently I'm not running any sort of control board like a Vector. I'm running all natural just for some field flying, and what I may do is get a Vector and put it down here on this lower deck. So we have a pusher prop. There's no fear of blowing your prop off when you land or take off, or carving into your hand as you throw. The wings come off, although I'm pretty sure I'm going to permanently glue mine in so they stay nice and stable. This thing is a super fast build. It is not expensive. It's good looking. It's not huge. It's not small. And now we're just going to fly it and see what we think. Good to go. Maiden throw. All right, Jason, how's it fly, man?
Oh, flies great.
Can I take a photo with this video camera?
You don't want to. It's not good. Slow and smooth, man.
Yeah, let's see how slow it'll slow down to. So it'll creep. All right, I think it's time to turn the camera on. Let's see a pretty little landing. Jason Cole on the sticks. It's a good thing I put a strap on there. Oh. Is there a bug on my arm? No?
No, I can see.
All right. Here goes my hand launch. And that's my first hand launch in the goggles with this unit. Very easy. You know, I've got to say, with some of my other planes that have props that could actually grab you as you throw them, the great part about this plane is the prop is up top, and there's no fear of that. So just to go over that, you want to nose up a little bit. You want to go half throttle. You can throw it. After this first flight, I took it to an event, and I would just have somebody else throw it while I sat in a chair. But it's super easy to do it yourself. Of course, you want a spotter when you're flying this plane. I might talk about that a little more here in a little bit. I have another video that I shot in the air. So handles great. Nothing unpredictable. Even when I was yanking and banking, I would get on the rudder just a little bit, and I never felt like it was going down, you know, like I would yank it and slide down. So I see this scrub brush tree, and I thought I'll fly between that, you know, in this open field. So first flight, it instilled confidence immediately.
Jason wanted me to point out it's 10 to 15 mile an hour winds while we're flying this. I never even thought about the wind until I landed and then realized how gusty it was. The plane really didn't react to the wind. And so my first flight, my first throw, and I thought, hey, why don't I shoot a gate? So when you're shooting a gate, you want to make sure not to catch your wingtip. I'm going to let Jason pick this thing and throw it back in the air. And while he does, let's just talk about some of the things on the plane. I'm using a 2200 3-sail. I just have lots of them for my Phantoms and my quads and all my other airplanes. I would expect to get more time than I'm actually getting on this bird. I'm getting about 9 minutes safely. And that's actually a pretty good amount of time. And I think I have 4 or 5 of these 2200s, so it's not a big deal. It would be awesome if I could figure out how to get around 10 to 15 minutes on this thing and have nice long flights and not have to worry about puffing a pack. So I think I'm looking at the wing right now and making sure it's in and tight. Like I said previously, I'm probably going to glue this wing in. And I believe my second throw was a little nose down. And let's see how it goes. 3, 2, 1. Look at that, man. And once it starts flying, you're just in the goggles. There's not a problem. I slowed this thing down really slow. I think the next one I'm going to go through the gates successfully, but I'm going to be a few inches off the ground. So, do you need on-screen display? I feel like I do, actually. I kind of want to know how far I am off the ground. I always assume I'm lower than I think I am. And I also want to know my voltage because I would love to squeeze out as much as I can. So those two things alone would be awesome for on-screen display. So at this point, I'm flying really slow and really low because if I were to go in, nothing would happen. I would just land it on its belly. I'm going to come in the gate here, using a little bit of rudder, trying to get it all straight, finesse it through the end. That's when Jason said, man, you were really low. So as you can see, first flights, this is exactly what I was looking for. If you haven't heard the story, I have a real flight multiplayer session for RCGroups, and in it I have an FPV course for quads, and I started flying a foamy in real flight just for fun, and I realized I was having more fun on the plane than I was on the quad, and that's when I said, man, I need a foamy FPV bird for FPV quad courses. So we happen to have the gate. All the other gates are at the Heli Extravaganza. And so now you get this. Let's see. There's more flying that will happen here, but I'm going to cut over. I took this thing to my event in Leapers Fork, Tennessee. It's kind of rainy and cloudy, but I probably had it up 4 or 5 times a day, maybe more than that. And I had another set of goggles so spectators and people who'd never seen FPV could ride along with me. And that's when I started enjoying inverted FPV flight. So I'm either going to land it or shoot it one more time. Oh, I'm shooting it one more time. Bam. Awesome. I got adrenaline off this flight. Now, it was the first flight, so maybe that was it. But I will say when I was done, I was all adrenalized. I was all amped up. Very cool. All right. I'm going to jump out of here. I'm going to hit the edit button, and we'll jump over to Nashville. Bam. We're at Nashville. 200-acre field in Leapers Fork, Tennessee. I'm down there in the middle of that flight line to your left. Lots of 3D planes hovering, so I really was having to watch out for them. One of my favorite things was to roll inverted and fly people down the flight line that way. Some viewers, and what I did is I had a spare set of goggles, and here's my crank and bank where it just didn't feel like it slipped at all, slipped down. I was adding rudder, though, in my turns like that. So I was giving rides in another set of goggles, and some folks did not like upside down. For me, it was the most fun. But I had one guy have to take the goggles off and walk away. So I am having some 5.8 interference, and I'm going to rectify that. I have some more antennas coming that I'm going to do a review on in the future. So here I am coming down the line, trying to keep an eye out for any planes in the air that might see us. And the weird thing was, as it would go by, you could hear your own plane fly by, which for some reason was odd. And so this is me flying out in the pasture. I would love to get better penetration so that I could get in those trees and get around the back. But the second I got around the back of those trees, I would lose signal. So I stayed up front. The other thing that would be cool is to go on the back side of that hill. So that means I either have to go to 1.3 or see if my new uh, antennas that I have coming in will work. I have to say this was a ton of fun. I loved it. People on the ground, especially people that didn't know anything about RC, it was awesome to say, hey, sit down. And I put the goggles on them and they could fly over the field. They thought it was awesome. I have a full review on this plane on RCGroups.com. There'll be a link in the video at the bottom you can check out. I talk about how I glued in the motor mount and all the parts and pieces that come with this plane. Super fast build. Very easy. Anybody can build it, a newbie. I also talk about an option that doesn't come with the plane, which is this shelf. I let my battery live up there, and that gave me a lot of room on the bottom, just in case you wanted to install something like a Vector. And here it is stuffed, those are just my wires, my battery. That's kind of where the CG lived for me. And that's it, ready to fly an FPV mission with its camera and 5.8 video transmitter. And so I guess now this is the part where I talk about if I liked it or not. I thought it flew great. I liked the way it looked. It's not a new aircraft style, but it's one that I'm really familiar with, which maybe is what made me feel really comfortable with it. I like this deck and all the room that it provides, and it's just an awesome plane. It doesn't cost very much, so if you were to whack it into your gate here, which I actually did, and nothing happened to the airplane, but if you were to pop a wing or something like that, you can always buy a completely new kit for $65, and that's the foam and the fuse and all the stuff you need to put it back together. Flies great. I got on the rudder. I never felt like when I was in a KE like this that I was slipping at all in the goggles. And just an awesome airplane, awesome price, easy build, lots of room, good mid-size plane that you can fly just about anywhere and throw in the back seat of your car. I hope this has helped. I'm Jim T. Graham with RCGroups.com.